Hi everybody, JS Pitcher here. Welcome to Wasteland Free Radio. We'll start the show in just a minute, but I wanted to tell all of you about our Patreon. Patrons get a private RSS feed with bonus episodes, bonus series, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more. You can find a link in our show notes, and that's it. Enjoy the show. Max the Millions discovered the salvage opportunity of a lifetime, so it looks like I'm getting out of the station for a few days. I'm your host. You can call me the Lone Transmitter. And coming to you live from Yellowbrook City, you're listening to WFR, Wasteland Free Radio. Local salvage and supply mogul Max the Millions has invited me to tag along on her next run. Between the roach wasps, the brain biters, and the many different clans of cannibals, with a few very charming exceptions, the Radlands are truly hell on earth. And while I might not be good in a fight, I am something of a scavenger myself. And I don't want to brag, but Max and I make a pretty good team, or at least we have in the past. Okay, I've got my go bag and a 6-pack of hot iridescent liquid. It's time to meet Max. So plans changed in the middle of the night, and instead of meeting Max at the Freeman Street Bridge, per usual, we are meeting at the Robot Graveyard. And yes, Radlanders, that sounds like a dangerous and terrifying place. But I've been there a few dozen times, and I've always made it out unscathed. I get a little creeped out there once in a while, but I've never been attacked by anybody. Almost, but that was just a misunderstanding. It's one of the best places to find cheap and fresh salvage because there are new robotic corpses being dropped off every day. No one can tell me where those dead robots are coming from, but that's fine, I don't need to know. I just need to harvest parts of their superstructure, so Weatherbot 95 has a few more spare parts. Speaking of everybody's favorite malfunctioning meteorologist, I do have a few notes regarding our upcoming forecast. Inside the protective dome, we're safe, but if you find yourself outside of Yellowbrook City, travel with caution. There's a 30% chance of this next rainstorm containing nuclear fallout, so if you are outside, make sure you decontaminate as soon as you can. If you are exposed, you don't have anything to worry about, just come back to Yellowbrook City and hop into one of our decontamination stations. We can expect scattered meteor showers for the next week, so if you're on the road, make sure you take appropriate precautions. According to the Radland Survival Guide, the best thing to do during a meteor shower is to find an old crater and hide within it. Because you know what they say, meteorites never strike the same place twice. That's all I have for today's forecast. Weatherbot 95 is busy trying to fix the Earth's magnetic field. He thinks he's going to save the world or something. Some of you might think it's a little too late to try to save the world, and you might be right, I'm not here to argue that. But Weatherbot 95 is giving it the old community college try. And that's more than I can say for most of the humans I've met in the Radlands. Yellowbrook City residents are all aware that the Freeman Street Bridge is the safest way in or out of our city. Not only does it provide a great separation from the toxic water below, but it's also the only place where you can pass through the protective dome without experiencing any serious side effects. Your average biological person might end up with a pretty severe headache and maybe pass out. But if you have cybernetic components or you happen to be a robot, you might want to take another look at your systems before you try to go through there. For the uninitiated, the protective dome is not a physical structure. It's not a nuke ball stadium or anything like that. It's been described to me as a psychic deterrent field, and it goes all the way around the city, keeping us safe from anything that might try to get in. The closer you get to the field, the more uncomfortable you feel, and if you get too close, you will get a splitting headache, and when I say a splitting headache, I mean it in the worst possible way ever. Now, we cross at the Freeman Street Bridge not just because it's disgusting and unhealthy to wade through Yellow Creek water, but it's also the best place to punch a hole through the psychic deterrent field. I'm a little more sensitive to it by nature just because of my cybernetic implant, and if I'm going out into the Radlands for an extended period of time, I really need my mental faculties to be at 100%. I also need my cybernetic components to be operating at 100%, and that makes, well, I guess that still makes 100%. The math doesn't really work out now that I think about it. But that's okay. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a scientist. I am a journalist, I guess. I don't really know what I am. But I'm getting closer to the Freeman Street Bridge, and I can feel it. It's like this immense pressure. It brings up more memories than I have, I think. Memories than I can remember.
Don't want to take off your fur.
At least they're here somewhere.
Good morning, puny humans.
You can't do this. Who do you think you are?
And it seems the world was never saved.
Oh, my dad's right.
I'm serving refreshments.
Botulism is no joke.
Higgs boson, damn it. That was worse than I remembered. Give me a sec. Okay. Wow, that is much better already. I do feel like I'm half myself, but at least my neurons aren't on fire anymore. Alright, I better get moving. Max already changed the plans once on me, and I would really hate to have to raw dog the Radlands on my own. One of the many downsides of growing up in a cave cult is that they never really taught us any survival skills. The best they had to offer was a little poem, "Stay inside, stay alive." And I guess technically they're right, but I don't think staying inside a cave and never seeing the light of day is considered living. And yes, I know that is rich, coming from someone who usually likes to spend most of his time inside of his radio station, but I spent enough of my time in the Radlands by myself. And I've made my radio station very comfortable for both myself, the station beast, and Weatherbot 95, if he ever comes home. Weatherbot 95 is doing just fine, I just miss him, that's all. He was my first roommate, aside from my shape-shifting landlady, the station beast. Of course, with Max the Millions and I going off on our own adventure, I'm not really sure what he's going to do in his spare time. But he's a capable little machine. He'll figure something out. Besides, he left some stuff in his supply closet. Taking a brief look at traffic, there isn't all that much to say. Most of the roads are pretty clear. You might find your odd tank or SUV. Fuel's hard to come by, but it's not impossible. You could raid an old government facility and see if their vehicles have any left. You can always try your luck with road warriors as well, but I wouldn't recommend it. Those compounds can get a little rough. I haven't seen another soul all day. That doesn't mean there's no one on the road, that just means nobody wants to be found. However, there is a small horde of brain biters collecting at the damned city. Yes, I have taken to calling the army of the undead brain biters because it gets the point across and it does make them seem a little less scary. Best I can tell, the roads near the damned city are completely clear and free of any activity, so we have nothing to worry about unless you want to go inside the damned city, which, why would you? It's called the damned city for a reason. Don't do it. Ow, what? Ow, what the I guess without my implant being on, I'm susceptible to some kind of interference or something out here. What is happening? Whoa, it tastes like garbage.
If you can hear me, come on down to Mr. Magic's Magic Michael shop, where we're always looking for new assistants. We have positions available for disappearing assistants, sawing in half assistants. I did have one before, but I don't know where they went. Come on down if you're ready to make things disappear. Come to Iron Falls and find me in my basement.
Well, there's a blast from the past. It seems like just yesterday I was stuck in that very basement, chained to a wall and being asked to join his magic show. I made it out, it was no big deal, but it's kinda sad that he hasn't found any help yet. I've got to give him some credit though. No false advertising there. If you join his show, you're probably going to die, or at least disappear. There are rumors of a new conservation attempt to save the roach wasps. Now, I don't love roach wasps. They're terrifying. They're usually huge. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to them. But they deserve to be on this planet just as we do. They didn't ask to be here. They also didn't ask to be exoskeletal crossbreed nightmares, but here we are. So I do my best to just have repellent and keep them alive. Yes, they do occasionally make an appearance at the bloodbath. The bloodbath, of course, is what we call our gladiator-style fighting pits, where people will go up against terrifying creatures from the Radlands, including but not limited to roach wasps. It's a little barbaric, and I don't really have anything to do with it, but they do sponsor the show, so I have to talk positively about them anyway. I don't think anybody at the bloodbath listens to this show. Most of their ears have been cut off by roach wasps. If you play stupid games, you might win stupid prizes. You also might lose. Nevertheless, we do need to keep an eye on the roach wasp population. They are an important part of our ecosystem, and I don't want to deal with another ecological collapse. I didn't deal with the first one, to be fair. I wasn't around yet, but I heard it was terrible. Anyway, here we are. This is the robot graveyard. It's bigger than it was last time I was here. Okay, that's a little concerning, but I mean, people die every day, you know, I guess it's not that big a deal. It's just a lot of dead robots. It's a little shocking. So I like to walk through these things and check out the names on each of the graves, or the designations, if you will. Some of them have names, some of them have numbers, you understand. I know a lot of robots, and I really hope I don't see any names I know here. Well, okay, there's one name I wouldn't be surprised if I end up seeing, but I don't really wish him any harm. Deathbot 17. Deathbot 17, of course, is the robot who said that he was my nemesis, which is funny because I don't think I have a nemesis. I don't think I deserve one. I'm not that kind of guy, I guess. But anyway, we've got this long-standing beef, and he's always been trying to kill me. It just doesn't work. He's not very good at it, and I haven't seen him in years. I just wouldn't be surprised if I found him in here, but so far nothing. But with new dead robots arriving here every day, there's always new material for me to salvage. Circuitry and halfway decent copper, unless it came from Elex Electronics Company, in which case I will never use any of it. I have pretty specific needs when it comes to what I'm salvaging for myself, and I know what kind of material I can sell to Max and others. Sometimes I'm looking for a,
System failure, you sexy buck.
Oh no, Lovebot 69 is here. How did that happen? I'm just gonna take that hard drive for myself, and no big deal, okay. Before you start looking at your radio in that tone of face, everybody gets skin hungry once in a while. This is the apocalypse. And I don't mean skin hungry as in eating people's skin. That's not my thing. Other people are into that, I get it. And I don't try to yuck anybody's yum. I've been pursued by more cannibals than I can count. Some of them have been pretty cute, but most of them have just been hungry. Being invited over to your boyfriends for dinner means something else in the Radlands. Well, local authorities have been down for a few weeks, and life hasn't changed all that much. It's like their overall effectiveness had already dropped to the point where we didn't even notice them, so it didn't matter. Crazy. The jury is out on what actually happened. Could it be that their systems finally failed? Even if they were just a bunch of self-reproducing algorithms with no real control over my life, I noticed a difference when they were gone. It's just so nice to be ignored once in a while. Local authorities were already in Yellowbrook City long before I arrived. And the only person who can give me any real information on where they came from and what they're supposed to do is the mayor. And the mayor is still in cryosleep. He only wakes up once in a while to reprogram local authorities. He's the only person that knows how. But as soon as he went back to sleep, local authorities shut down. And you're probably thinking to yourself, that's a really inefficient government model. You'd be right. I really don't know how it works. It's a little confusing, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But without local authorities here, we don't really have a ruling body. Some people think local authorities are to blame for the Great Devastation in general, but that doesn't seem realistic to me at all. If someone could explain to me how a localized computer system could ruin the entire planet, I might believe it. I just don't think that's the case. The best I can figure, local authorities were originally programmed to be an assistant to the human race. And I realize the word human is a little loaded these days, considering we have humans, mutants, robots, cyborgs, and other forms of sentient life. If any of you have suggestions for a better term, I'm all ears. Well, I only have 2 ears, actually, but I'm open to hearing what you have to say. That's all. Based on what I've seen from other technology from before the Great Devastation, my guess is that local authorities were built with components that could not withstand the Great Devastation. We don't know exactly what happened, but we do know there was a neo-nuclear war, we know there's more cosmic radiation coming from space, and a couple dozen miscellaneous world-ending events. When you look at how much of the world was lost, it shouldn't be all that surprising that a complicated and fragile computer system like this might not have made it the whole way through. That being said, if you send local authorities a message, you get an automated response that says, "We'll be right back." I don't think I believe them, but I've never believed local authorities. Why should I start now? The residents of Yellowbrook City are more than capable of self-governing. I don't think we need an artificially intelligent algorithmic overlord to tell us what to do. Well, I made it to the rendezvous point, but no sign of Max anywhere. I would scan for footprints, but my implant is off. I can't do that, so I'm just gonna kick back with a nice, hot, iridescent liquid and wait. Ugh, delicious. I might as well check the stash while I'm here. Hang on, what's the hell? Dear lone transmitter, sorry, not making the rendezvous. I will meet you. And then she gives me detailed instructions for where to meet her. Max isn't meeting me here right now. Okay, this is so unlike her. This job better be good. I left my studio for this. I figured Max and I would be out here for a while. I guess it's just gonna be me until I find her, but I brought enough music to last me a couple of weeks. Let's see what we've got. Taking you out today is another band from before the Great Devastation. They're called Dawn of Jane, and this is their song, Chief Complaint. I'm the Lone Transmitter, and you've been listening to WFR, Wasteland Free Radio, your very last source for news.
I have a fear of a dark being. For you, I'm most present when I'm bringing out your shadows. In demons, that's the only way to see me. And I begin to believe that's the only way to be seen. Manifestations of some negative thing. Fear my very being. And you begin to resent the way I make you unravel. For you, I'm most present when I'm bringing out your shadow. And I don't know who's lying next to me, 'cause Joshua Thompson's just a ghost in my dreams, and I fear a darker being. You've seen too much. Every unsure smile faking is never enough. And when you begin to see your nightmares in me, just recall the idea. Every good thing you've ever felt is still here. And every bad feeling will eventually disappear. 'Cause judgment's cleared when we eradicate fear. There are no shadows here.
Thank you so much for listening to Wasteland Free Radio. Written and produced by J.S. Pitcher with additional writing done by Leo Joylock. Our intro and outro music is by 11D7, and today's featured artist was Dawn of Jane. You can find all of us in the show notes. Feel free to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and other places on the internet. And if you really want to support the show, you can always find us on Patreon. Patrons receive bonus episodes, entire bonus series separate from the real story here, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more. And if you want to support the show but don't want to spend any money in this economy, I understand. You can always leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, when plans change, people die. That's kind of dark, actually. When plans change, maybe you should change your plans. That's better.